Thanks for tuning in. My name is Saskia Fairfall. I'm part of the industry engagement team for design and creative technology at Torrens University. Joining us today is Taylor Wallace and Tom Dabner. Could you introduce yourselves, your current role, and a quick snapshot of your career so far?
Yeah, my name's Taylor Wallace. I studied at Billy Blue, graduated in 2010 for communications design, and I've kind of had a really interesting career working from design all the way through to product and project management, which is my current role.
And my name's Tom Dabner. I didn't actually study at Billy Blue, but I work for, I'm the creative director at a brand and design agency called Someone. And we've been working with Billy Blue for the past 3 years on a whole variety of different projects. So that's kind of my connection. And similarly to Taylor, I've had a kind of interesting career, but in a different way. So I've actually been at Someone for the past 10 years. In my time there, I've moved from where we started in London, if you can tell from my accent. I came over from the UK, and also to work in our Sydney office here. So I've had a very an interesting mix of kind of how different cultures play into design and understanding your audiences.
It's a good segue into the next question, Tom and Taylor, about how do you see your industries evolving with emerging technologies and new skills requirements as roles evolve?
Another big question, it can evolve in so many different ways. I think from my perspective, we've got more designers than ever before in our industry, within branding at least. There are more people studying it at university, so the industry is growing by the second. And I think technology is, playing a major role in how that evolves as well. So, platforms like TikTok and other social platforms has made creativity as an outlet way more accessible than it's ever been before. And I think the fact that we're now using these platforms as media streams is creating more and more roles within the creative industries. So, if you think 10 years ago, there was no such thing as a social media manager or a content specialist. These sorts of roles didn't exist. So I think that continuous evolution of these technologies is only going to open up new creative roles within the industry. And so that evolution is kind of inevitable. But I think it's also interesting to look at what isn't changing as well. And sometimes that can be really useful for helping to kind of progress within our space. And I think one of those things is that people are always going to be drawn to stories and connection with other people. Finding something to believe in, something that they can be a part of. And so, when you can capture somebody's attention, the medium or skill set that you use to do that can change, but the kind of the core understanding of kind of people's behaviour is kind of remaining a constant.
Yeah, I completely agree with Tom. I think, further to his point, it used to be the technology or the tools were quite out of reach. Particularly when I studied, you had two streams. You had, a multimedia or a motion designer, and a communication or a traditional sense of a designer. But now those roles are, merging, and we can see that in the technology and the suite of tools that are available, for creatives to produce, work. And as Tom, pointed out really well, it's the storytelling, it's the formats that are changing, not necessarily the contents. So that's really important. And also the accessibility to that technology, like Facebook and Snapchat are bringing out really easy to use, Adobe as well. They're easy to use augmented reality, mixed reality software. We're hiring at the moment for another commercial innovation immersive lead. We've had a few headcounts in our business that are kind of focusing on that. And it's just a growing area, I think. Particularly in the commercial world, clients are really starting to open up to more kind of new untested formats like AR, and the technology is kind of bridging that gap. So just like Tom said, I think newer, younger creators are kind of using these new formats, and then brands are soon to kind of follow, and that's usually where the money in the industry kind of gets on board as well. I think particularly AR is going to be a huge next 5 to 10 years. Like just looking at the tools and the kind of the noise that are coming out of the big platforms like Facebook, Apple, whatnot, in terms of like the new generation of designers that are coming through, those mixed media, augmented reality, virtual reality, those formats are going to be more and more important.
So from your perspectives, Tom and Taylor, when you go to uni and study design, and you think in your mind that you're going to be a graphic designer or an interior designer or digital media designer, for the person at the time, that's very narrow. But what you're saying, it's not that at all when you get into the industry. Can you explain a little bit more about the skills that graduates need when they launch their careers in being a little bit more adaptable to innovation and the way industries are changing?
Yeah, in terms of the skills that graduates need to kind of tackle the changes in innovation in the industry, I think like problem solving and ability to be a problem solver is really important. There are a whole bunch of different ways you can achieve a solution. Challenges that you'll face, being able to kind of have an attitude towards solving or approaching a problem in a constructive, positive way is really important, because the tools in your arsenal are just going to keep changing. Technology is going to become more and more available and at a growing, rapidly increasing pace. So the ability to kind of work constructively and adaptively is going to be really important.
I can not agree more. I think that's it. When you break it down, really, I think everyone that works in the creative industry, first and foremost, you are a problem solver. We are here, we are employed to create ideas that are going to connect with somebody on some level, and there's so many ways that you can execute that. Another one is, we've touched on adaptability. I think that itself is a skill and something that is something worth practicing. Being able to decide to adapt, and when an opportunity arises where you think to yourself, oh, I'm not sure if I can do that, or I haven't done this before, this is going to be difficult. That is exactly the time when you should start learning to do that thing, because I think it demonstrates that there is somewhere that you can grow and that you can develop further. And as we already talked about, it will just become another way that you can express the ideas that you have to the problems that you need to solve.
That's really great advice, guys. For those that are tuning in, most will be embarking on their journey into study pretty soon. Can you give any advice on perhaps what they should be keeping in mind when they select subjects, or particularly which degrees they could be looking at that match perhaps some of their interests or preferences, to give them a good idea of where their career could take them?
Don't rush into a decision. Don't pick something just because you think that might be an end goal. I think spend the time trying to understand what you really enjoy. Like coming out of the latter half of high school, as you start to have conversations with people in various industries, hopefully that picture will start to become clearer for you. Just like any job application, it's really important to kind of make your voice heard. Make sure you kind of get out there and speak to as many people as you can. More opinions create for a better informed decision on your part.
So that's it, guys. We're through all the questions. Is there anything in that conversation that comes to mind that you might like to add or elaborate on before we wrap up?
Yeah, I think like it's been a really good coverage. I think the biggest thing for me is just don't be too hard on yourself.
Hi, I'm Emma Goulet and I am currently studying branded fashion and design.
Hi there, my name is Charlotte Perry and I'm currently studying a diploma of graphic design.
I'm in my first year and have really enjoyed the subject Design Studio One, where I was able to interview Belle Magazine's style director at large, Steve Cordoni. By interviewing him for that one assessment, it enabled me to create a connection I never thought I might be able to have.
One of my favourite courses to date would have to be illustration. My advice to you if you're considering taking this course is if your gut is leading you to study graphic design, just dive in head first. Give it a go.
Tending to get quite a bit of freelance work in web design, which is really awesome. So when I graduate in December, I think I've got about 3 websites.
Some advice I would give to future students is that it doesn't matter if you weren't the best at school. Personally, I wasn't. I didn't really enjoy school. but now studying something that I love and really passionate about. I am really enjoying it and really putting my heart and soul to everything that I do.
Torrens University has a great selection of subjects, and there are going to be subjects that you will find that are actually out of your comfort zone, and I encourage you, take them. Take those chances to do the things that you didn't really think you would want to do or that you could do. You'll be surprised by just how much you are capable of once you take them.